Wow. You have clearly, I hope all listeners have appreciated how much you have helped shape and grow the industry here in Vietnam. And you're clearly very, very excited about it.
Yeah.
Now, a question that I have for you is, if you gaze into your crystal ball, you've been talking about this date in September 26, where Vietnam's going to be like reclassified.
Yeah.
What impact is that really going to have?
Well, in purely numbers sense, at day one, not much, right? But what happens is there's a lot of funds around the world that will just focus on either developed markets or the tier one emerging market or the secondary emerging market, but not that many look at the frontier market. And therefore, Vietnam being able to go into the secondary emerging market, it will make the whole capability of the 1,650 or thereabouts listed companies, when presenting their investment case to a potential foreign investor, foreign institution, easier. They will have the fact that FTSE Russell of London, the global index rating agency, approved it on critical metrics, right? One of them is you've got to have your investor relations disclosures done in English language, and it's got to be timely. It can't be delayed, secondhand, like the horse races finish and the Vietnamese-speaking horses won the race. It's got to come out pari passu with the Vietnamese language press release with the English one. So the Vietnamese and English is going concurrent. The impact, therefore, will be you'll have a lot more knowledge of the Vietnamese market, because you'll have a lot of the companies will be bringing out their research and in their press releases, their media and marketing disclosures, all in English, similar to Vietnamese. And if you have a look at the impact, without having the secondary emerging market, the net foreign outflows over the last few years since COVID's been over $10 billion net outflow. And that's as a frontier market, because in times of global volatility, one can expect that people will repatriate, remit their money back into safe haven sectors, whether it be a small allocation in a frontier market. Some of that might get dispersed into something as basic as term deposits, for a big US hedge fund or asset manager from anywhere around the world. So there's that amount of money that's gone out of the market. But interestingly, Vietnam's retail internal market is at a record high. So we've been fortunate, particularly since COVID, to have gone from just a couple of million accounts pre-COVID, retail mum and dad investors, to well over 10 million accounts now. So the participation rate of the citizens in Vietnam is increasing at a very, very rapid pace. And the net impact of that, coupled with the credit benefit of margin lending expansion, which is based on the charter capital of a stockbroking company. So it can only be up to a maximum of 200% of its charter capital. That's why you've seen a lot of securities companies go through the IPO plan, like VPS Securities, like back in the day, SSI, HSC, and then VP Bank through VP Bank Securities, and then Techcom Bank through Techcom Bank Securities. Two very large IPOs in the securities landscape last year in the connected banking ecosystem point of view. They have, through their large charter capital, capacity to extend a lot of credit to Vietnamese citizens for shares, for exchange traded funds. So it's been able to see the local market go to a record high in terms of an index number, even though there's been over 10 billion in net foreign outflows. So while the locals have been keeping the market up, the foreigners will, over the next several months, be able to digest the fact that FTSE Russell's accredited it, subject to a review in March. But I'm confident that the review in March should go relatively smoothly. They might just have a few recommendations, but I don't see anything that's going to be, of an issue for it to start. So that will see more interest in Vietnam come in. Because if you look at the competitive landscape, got Thailand, you've got, the Philippines, you've got a few other countries around. Vietnam's stock market now is very frequently trading more average daily total trading value than the Thai stock market and the Singapore stock market combined. So this is remarkable. You wouldn't have thought that 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. So the impact of advancing will be, it will put a base of accreditation acknowledgement from a global market like FTSE Russell, headquartered in London, to say they're moving in the right direction, And then after that, there's ability to go to the full tier 1 emerging market, and then also to go to MSCI emerging market. But the metrics and the criteria for MSCI is a little bit different, a little bit more complicated. But I foresee, only good things coming from this, and you will see probably, hopefully, not just say the UOBAM example that I got, where they're in the banking landscape in Vietnam, but also the asset management landscape in Vietnam. Hopefully there'll be more Shinhan stories in Vietnam, where you will get foreign securities companies come in a big way and just say, like Mirai Asset Securities, we're going to start launching a big broker. Could you imagine if you had, Robinhood available for trading Vietnamese listed securities, or another personal share trading type of app, like an Asian one like Webull or Tiger iBroker, something like that from the Chinese facing side. So yeah, it's only positive, because at the moment, the market share on the HN Stock Exchange is still very, very heavily dominated by the indigenous Vietnamese brokers. And if you have a look at all the global developed markets, you need a bit of a sustainable, sticky, and resilient mix of local with foreign brokers, because the foreign brokers are the ones on the ground. They can be in Berlin or they can be in Brisbane, Australia, speaking to their local fund managers, their large local state sovereigns, or semi-sovereigns, or that hedge fund types of crowd, and articulate to them very easily, face to face, the virtues of a stock. And if they got an investor relations press release or company report profile that's in English that they can understand, they can do it over coffee, they can do it over a client meeting. So FTSE Russell had a criteria that one of those criteria had to be timely, pari passu dissemination of English language reporting. So that's why I can't stress that enough.